Good afternoon, class. How's everybody doing today?
Great.
Great. I'm glad to hear that you're doing great because I need you to have energy because today we're going to learn how to solve two-step equations. Yes, that's correct. Two-step equations. But before I go through the methods of how to solve a two-step equation, I want to inform you on some key words before doing so. So does anybody in here know what a variable is?
Me.
Yes, Emily.
I believe it is a number represented by a letter.
That is correct, Emily. Class, I don't know if you heard it, but a variable is any number represented by a letter. For example, as shown here, a variable can be X, Y, or Z, or if anything. If your favorite letter is T, that's a variable. Next, does anybody in here know what an expression is?
I do.
Yes, Kathy, you have a really good expression on your face, so let's...
I think it's a statement without an equal sign.
That is actually really correct, Kathy. So, class, just like Kathy stated, an expression is anything stated without an equal sign. So here is an example. X plus 7 is an expression because it does not have an equal sign and it doesn't have anything that it's tied to. Lastly, does anybody know what an equation is?
I do.
Yes, Devon, can you help us know?
An equation is two expressions that equal each other.
Exactly. An equation is two expressions that equal each other. For example, x plus 7 equals 21 is an equation because there's an expression, 21, and there's 7, and the expression 21, and they're put together by an equal sign, which means there is equation, and it also can state that it can be true or false. Last thing before we get into solving a two-step equation, does anyone know what an inverse is?
I do.
Crystal.
The inverse is the opposite of something.
That is correct. Class, just as Crystal said, an inverse is the opposite of anything. And this can be applied to any area of life. But for math, the inverse is opposite. So if you have addition, the inverse of addition will be subtraction. If you have multiplication, the inverse of multiplication will be division and vice versa. Now we're going to go into the steps of how to solve a two-step equation. The first step is to identify your variable, as we stated here, which can be x, y, or z. So, in this equation, what would our variable be, class?
W.
That is correct. In this equation, our variable would be W. The first step to solving a two-step equation is you have to isolate this W. In order to do that, isolate your variable, you have to take the inverse of the number. So, step 2 is take inverse. So we'll do 2w plus 3 equals 17 as the original equation. But the inverse of positive 3 will be what, class?
Negative 3.
Negative 3.
Correct. The inverse of 3 will be negative 3. So you subtract 3 on both sides. You will cross this out because a positive and negative will cancel each other out. And you bring down your 2w. You'll have 2w equals
14.
Correct, class. Now that you have taken your variable and isolated, you're left with 2w equals 14. You have to once again isolate in order to get w by itself, which is isolating your variable. And the inverse of 2w equals 14 will be dividing 2 by both sides, which will, the 2's will cancel out because 2 divided by 2 is 1, and you'll have w equals what, class?
7.
Exactly. So your answer to this, to 2w plus 3 equals 17, once isolating your variable and taking the inverse of those variables, your answer will be w equals 7. Now I want to show you a quick way in order to check that to see if your answer is correct. What you'll do is take w and plug it back into the original equation. So you do 2 times 7 plus 3 equals 17. Class, 2 times 7 is 14, plus 3 equals 17. 17 equals 17, so these both check out, which means that w equals 7 is your answer to 2w plus 3 equals 17. Are there any questions?
No.
Mm-mm.
Well, Well, that's good. It's to teach you guys a chant so that you can remember how to solve two-step equations. So on a quiz, on a test, or even out in the world, if someone asks you, you have a chant to help you remember. So I'm going to go ahead and give you the lyrics, and I want you to repeat after me, and then after learning them, we're going to go ahead and do it to the beat. So the first line is, let me see you 1, 2, solve.
Let me see you 1, 2, solve.
The second line is, yeah, we're going to do some math.
Yeah, we're gonna do some math.
The next one is, first you find something in mind, then you
First you find something in mind, then you
locate the variable.
locate the variable.
Then you must ask yourself,
Then you must ask yourself,
how can we isolate it?
how can we isolate it?
Adding, subtracting,
adding, subtracting,
subtracting and adding,
subtracting and adding,
multiplying and dividing,
multiplying and dividing,
divide and multiply,
divide and multiply.
one step,
one step,
two step,
two steps.
everybody get to the board,
Everybody get to the board.
get your markers out, yeah, we're gonna do some math.
Get your markers out, yeah, we're gonna do some math.
Let me see you 1, 2, solve.
Let me see you 1, 2, solve.
I love it when you 1, 2,
I
solve.
love it when you 1, 2, solve.
Everybody 1, 2, solve.
Everybody 1, 2, solve.
Yeah, we're gonna do some math.
Yeah, we're gonna do some math.
Okay, great. So now we're gonna say it all together. Ready?
Yeah.
Adding, subtracting, subtracting and adding, multiplying and dividing, divide and multiply, one step, two step, everybody get to the board, get your markers out, yeah, we're gonna do some math. Everybody 1, 2, step. I love it when you 1, 2, solve. Everybody 1, 2, solve. Yeah, we're gonna do some math. Okay, great job, class. Now that you have the methods and the steps and you have keywords to solve a two-step equation, and you have a really exciting song, I just want to wish you the best of luck as you encounter two-step equations. Remember, adding and subtracting, multiplying and dividing, and solve. Go out there and conquer those two-step equations. Have a great rest of the day.
Bye. Bye.